Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to do a review tutorial and open boxing of the brand new Canon, the new Canon mirrorless camera, the EOS without the mirror, which is basically the EOS RP. Basically that's what this is. Now this is not a sponsored video. I bought this with my own money, and my review will be 100% authentic and unbiased based on what I see and I find out. I did try a lot of Canon cameras. I mean, as you can see, there are 5Ds right there, a whole bunch of 5Ds, not one, not two, a whole bunch of 5D cameras. So I've seen a few cameras here and there. So let's see what we have here. Okay. All right. So as you can see, this is a brand new unit, and it comes just like you see in the box. Basically, you know, with the lens. Now you could buy two different types of lenses, and I bought the one that has. There are two kinds of lenses that you can buy with this. One is the ultrasonic lens, and the one I bought was a cheaper version, which I believe is the IS lens, image stabilizer, STM lens. Yeah, this is a STM lens. The ultrasonic one is USM, I believe. That one is more expensive. Way more expensive, not just more expensive, way more expensive. And I got a lot of negative review about it, that it's being, the lens motor is too loud, and it's not very friendly when you're recording video, because your video will actually capture the lens noise. Okay, so that's the reason why I didn't buy that one. Okay. So what do we have here? We have the Canon warranty. We have the Canon operational manual. Wow, look at the thickness of that thing. I'm sure it's 3 languages, but still it's a very thick unit. So this is the receipt. And as I said, I paid for this, and that's how much I paid for it. $1,400. So yeah, these aren't cheap. The strap, the battery charger, the battery itself, and let me put this aside and see what we have underneath. Oh wow, another plastic. Okay, I bet you this is the camera body and this is the lens, and that's about it. That's all there is. Okay, now let's wrap this up, put this away so we could do our review. Okay, so I'm gonna put this away, and let's see what we have. Now remember, when you buy a mirrorless camera, it's even more dangerous as far as the sensor is concerned, because at least with a mirrored camera, the sensor is protected with a mirror. But here you have to be extremely cautious, because the mirror is very fragile. Now let me center this camera here so we can get a better glimpse of this puppy. Okay. Wow, look at that thing. Fresh out of the oven. Very nice, very nice. So we have a LCD screen that twists this way so you can see what you're filming, which is pretty good. Very nice. And that's the on and off. This is the battery compartment, the SD card compartment. Yeah, without a single scratch, brand spanking new. Okay. Oh, before. Okay. So now see, I'm not opening this because you can't let dust get inside. You have to have your lens ready to put in there before you open it, because dust particles are in the air, and a small dust particle that's barely visible is as big as blocking hundreds of pixels, because these are 24, 25 megapixel. You know how small pixels are, how dense they are, and a dust particle could block hundreds of them. All right, so let's make sure we have the red dot, the red lineup thing. You have to make sure that's visible and matching with this one. Remember, this is a full frame mirrorless digital camera. Okay, now the battery may not have full charge because it's a brand new battery, but who knows, maybe it does have a full charge. Let's find out. Wow, nice battery. Let's see, what do we have here? Okay, so I'm sure when I turn it on, I've got some setup to do. So let's do it together. Okay, so the battery has enough charge. By the way, do you notice the thing flashing? That is eye sensor. Like when you get your eyes close to it, it knows. So basically, it's constantly scanning to see if you're looking at from the viewfinder. That's what that is. Okay. Let me zoom in. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so first let's set the date in time. Now, this is the first time using this. I don't know if it's touchscreen, but I'm going to find out. Yes, it is. Okay, so let's set is that month? 0101. Okay, so that is month. Let's set the month. It's the 11th month, so I'm going to go this way. The day is 20th. And the year is 2020, and the time is 11:54, 23:54, month, day, and that's it. That's location is United States. Time. Let's see. Los Angeles. Okay, Los Angeles. Okay, the time and everything is good. And the daylight saving is off. That one is daylight saving, which is off. Okay, no card in camera. Obviously, there is no card in camera. So let's first see the setup of this camera. Now, in order to do, as you notice, my fingers, you have natural oils in your finger, and I could see the spots that my finger actually touched. So I'm going to clean this so we can have a clean video. Okay, so let's go to menu and see what do we have. Image quality is large. Now here is where you could change the image quality. You have large, fine, you have large pixelated, not that fine. This medium, small 1, small, and then small 2, and of course the compression is JPEG because that's what we have chosen, but you could choose RAW, or you could choose RAW JPEG combo. Let me see, why is this? Let me zoom in a little more because it's let me turn on the light here. because you need to be able to see. There you go, much better. Okay, so as you can see, the compression is currently at large, but it does have compression. If you want no compression, you have to choose raw. The current resolution for each one is shown up above. For example, if I choose this one, I use the same resolution, but it doesn't have smoothing like this one. If I go here, watch the resolution dropped there. If I choose small, the resolution dropped further. Even the small is very high resolution. I mean, that is crazy resolution right there. So you're gonna get some fine image qualities with this, but I didn't buy it for pictures. I bought this for video. So let's see what happens when it comes to videography and whatnot. So I'm gonna choose what it was, the default, which is large, and I click OK. That was image quality. Cropping aspect ratio. Cropping and aspect ratio, you know very well, like if you want 16:9, if you want it 1:1, 4:3, or if you want it full means the entire sensor. The whole sensor will be represented, which is what I like, or I should say that's what I want. Image review, 2 seconds, but you can change that to review it for longer. Like when you take a picture for 2 seconds, the picture will be shown here to see how the picture came out. Now if you want that picture to show for more than 2 seconds, you could choose 4 seconds, 8 seconds, or you could choose hold, or you could choose off, which means it's not going to preview the image after you shoot it. Okay. Release shutter without card on. For example, if you want to practice without a memory card, you could release the shutter when the card, without card when it's on. But when it's off, when you try to press the shutter, it tells you, you know what, there is no card. Sorry, you can't press the shutter because there is no card. So that's what that is. Okay. Let's go to number 2. Now I could click on number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or on any of these. I could click with my hand, or I could use this. So I'm going to use this so I don't have to block the screen when I do it. So now I am in number 2. And number 2, we have lens aberration correction, external speed light control. Okay, so lens aberration correction is a very advanced feature in newer Canon cameras that will correct all kinds of lens optical errors, such as color bleeding, rainbow colors, color bending, and so on. So this is something that you wanna keep it on if you want perfect pictures. However, keep in mind this function requires a lot of processor usage, and it can slow your continuous burst shooting. So keep that in mind, that this will bring substantial amount of pressure on the processor. It will also drain your battery faster. But if you are doing really professional photography, the offset of the disadvantages will offset. The advantages will offset the disadvantages, so you're better off to do it. Okay, and especially the lens optimizer, digital optimizer, is unbelievable. I'm gonna make future videos in showing you the difference between shot with and without the optimizer. Day and night difference, very, very different, good difference. Okay. Okay, this is the external flash. You know about that. I'm sure all of you guys who use flash, you need to choose what type of flash you're attaching to this or pairing with this, and based on that you can adjust the flash setting. Now I'm not going to be using this for flash photography, so I'm not going to worry about that, but that's the option that you have, that you can use. Okay, so this is the exposure plus and minus, which you could make it brighter or darker, how much exposure you want to give it. This is the ISO speed settings. Film speed on the older film cameras, we used to have 100 speed, 200, 800, 400 and all that. So this is the different type. Now currently it's an automatic, but you can change it to manual and then change your speed over here. Okay, let's go back and see what's the next one. This is the ISO speed setting for video. Now the top one was ISO speed setting for photography, for still shots. The second one is ISO setting for videos, which you can change according to your desire. Auto lighting optimizer, it's another name for like color temperature, you know, so it chooses the best color temperature based on your option. Highlight tone priority is another enhancement of images which you could have on or off. Metering timer is measurement of distance, and metering is measurement of distance from the lens of the object that you want to take pictures of from the lens. You know, if you wanted to change the time from 8 seconds to longer if you want to. Exposure simulation, it simulates the exposure so that you don't have to shoot the picture in order to see how the picture is going to come out. White balance is the actual white balance. The other one was image you know, brightness optimizer. Let me go back there. It's auto lighting optimizer. This one is the actual white balance. Now the color temperature gives the pictures the yellow shade, blue shade, depending on what kind of lighting you have. For example, if you're shooting a picture in incandescent light, the pictures will appear yellowish. If it's fluorescent, true color temperature 56, 5900 K, then it's more wider. So it depends on what kind of light you have to choose the one you want. And if you leave it to automatic, it's you know, it will automatically choose for you the best option that suits the most for your particular photography. Okay, so custom white balances, you can customize it with your own hand instead of choosing like a cloudy sky, this and that. This you could actually enter the value for that. So currently, since I don't have a card, it doesn't do that. White balance shift, you could do plus and minus if you want to. The color you could choose RGB or Adobe, depending on if you want regular standard RGB or Adobe RGB. I would like to stick with standard, but for some people they're better off to do Adobe RGB. Okay, so let's see. Now let me see, how do I go back, because now this doesn't have a return button, so I guess I'll just click on the standard and that's it. Okay, picture style is auto. What other options we have? We have standard, portrait, landscape, fine. If you choose portrait, the lens will blur out the background. Landscape is obvious, you know, it's for photography of landscape. And then you have fine detail, you have natural, monochrome, it's like, you know, black and white. User defined, you could change those things, you know, all that. Okay, let's go to number 5. And number 5, we have long exposure, noise reduction is off, or you could have the long exposure, noise reduction on. Higher ISO speed, normal, and then you have 2 bars. You could choose two different bars, like, you know, interval timer disable, bulb timer disable, anti-flicker shoot disable, high speed display. All those things you can set here. Let me. Okay, so this is, what did I do? This is high, this is standard, this is low, and this one is off. So I'm going to leave it to standard the way it was. Okay, dust, delete data. If you want obtain data for removing dust, use long sight software, refer to manual for details. So that's something that you could get info for it from the manual. Touch shutter is to simply you touch it with a slight button and then it will enable. You could enable it or disable. I recommend to have it disabled. Multiple exposure, as you press the shutter, you could enable or disable. HDR mode, is the mode that it takes multiple pictures, combines them to give you the best picture, like one with the overexposed, one underexposed, one in perfect exposure, and then it combines all of them and give you a perfect picture. In some cameras, the HDR even includes focus range. It goes to further away focus, closer focus, and then perfect focus, and then combine them to give you a picture with full in-depth with a full depth of field where everything is in focus, what's in the front end and the back. Okay, focus bracketing, you could disable it or enable it if you want the focus to jump like tick tick tick, or you want it to be smooth transition, smooth motion. Okay, timer, bulb timer, all those timers, I went through those. Automatic focus operation, one shot AF, you could change that to servo. That's same as the old cameras, you know. Automatic focus method, if you want one box in the center, or if you want different boxes here all over the screen, you know, tracking. This is, you know, no different from the previous version, so you're all familiar with that. Same thing. Okay, eye detection, autofocus disabled, but you could make it enabled. Continuous autofocus. Now this continuous autofocus is good if you're shooting a video, because if you're, see, this is a mirrorless camera, so even in videography you have autofocus. With mirrored cameras such as Canon 5D, Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, when you're shooting a video, focus is on you. You have to do manual focusing. But when you have a mirrorless camera, then you could do it without any problem. Okay. So continuous focus, I recommend to enable. Touch and drag autofocus settings. You know, you could choose where you want the autofocus to be by touching the screen and dragging it. Which area you want. Focus mode, autofocus or manual focus. Most cameras will have autofocus, manual focus buttons. Now here it says autofocus on, but doesn't say off. Maybe on and off is from there, so I'll find that out later. Okay, lens, electronic, manual focus, on and off options. You could turn it on. Disable after one shoot enabled. So different options you can choose from. It's self-explanatory. Autofocus assist beam firing. There will be a light beam from the camera to the subject for autofocus. Manual focus peaking settings. So you could change that to high, color red, what level, if you want that. So your eyes could see and focus correctly, you know. Movie record size, HD. Let's see how many options it has. It has FHD at 29.7, 29.97 frames per second. Then we have HD at 1920 1080 at 59.94 frames per second, and then we have let's see, 1920 by 1080 at 29.97. This one is smaller, and this one's that. So this camera does not record 4K based on what I'm seeing here. It does not record 4K, but it does record full HD up to 60 frames per second. Okay. Movie recording size. I cannot believe this doesn't record 4K. You would think it does, but let me find out. Maybe there's another settings. Sound recording automatic. You could turn it on, off, or automatic. So there you go. Now that's sound level. As I'm talking, you could see the sound level. Movie digital image stabilizer. is disabled. Now, why would you want to disable that? Definitely enable that. Image stabilizing. Okay. Movie servo autofocus is enabled. Auto slow shutter. When there's dark, not enough ambient light, the shutter speed drops, so the camera must not move. Should be in a tripod. So this is protect image, rotate image, erase image, print order, photo set book and whatnot. Raw image processing. You could do color corrections and processing on this camera. You can even do lens corrections on the camera with raw and JPEG images. It does require a lot of battery power, so be careful not to waste your battery editing pictures when you have a wedding and you have shootings to do. So be careful with that. Cropping is a no-brainer. Resize, rating, slideshow, set image, search options, image jump and all that. Playback information on display and all the good stuff. View last seen. Okay. Select folder, file numbering continuous. Now, file numbering I like continuous because you don't want them to, when you copy the pictures in your computer, you don't want the computer to say a file with such name already exists. Would you like to replace it? So that's why I like it to be continuous. So there will be every file name will be unique. Auto rotate in your computer or in your camera based on how you're holding the camera. So if you're holding the camera horizontally or vertically, it knows which side is the bottom of the picture, and when you play back it will rotate automatically. Format card, mode guide, feature guide, enable. That's good for beginners to get like a little help on the screen. Oops, okay. Eco mode is off. Economic mode will be battery saving mode. Power savings, we have options. What options do we have? The turn off in 1 minute and 3 minutes. Those things. So display brightness, date and time, language is English. Number 3, video system, NTSC, touch control standard, beep is enabled, battery info, sensor cleaning, HDMI resolution. Let's see. 1080p. Switches resolution. Okay. Let's see what's this. HDR output. That's good to have on, but currently it's off. Let's see what else do we have here. We have shooting info display, viewfinder performance, viewfinder display format, display settings, shutter button function for movies. So let's see shooting info display. In shooting info, what do you want to be shown on display? These are all the things that you can choose from. Then we have viewfinder performance. You want smooth power savings. Okay. Now viewfinder display format. If you want display 1 or display 2, which one do you like? One has dark borders, the other doesn't. With the dark borders, you could see the menu items much better and easier. Display settings, auto, manual display screen, you could choose from that. Shutter button function for movies. So half press, metering servo, and autofocus. The other one is one shot autofocus, metering only. So it's up to you how you want it to be. These are things that, it's personal preferences. Text size. If your eyes have problem reading the text size, you could make it smaller or bigger. Wireless communication settings, you could set it up with your computer or phone or router, wireless settings. But when you click on it, it gives you, Wi-Fi settings, Wi-Fi function, Bluetooth function, nickname for the camera. You could customize the name. So, for example, if your name is Mike, you could say Mike's Canon camera. So the Wi-Fi when your phone is searching for the Wi-Fi signal from the camera, you could recognize it. Okay, so multifunction lock, you could lock the multifunction, you know, see all the things you could do. It tells you which button you want to lock, you know. So I'm going to cancel this for now. Custom shooting mode, you can customize the settings. This is the same as if you're working, if you're familiar with Excel, you know, in Excel you put functions, different functions and macros. So this is the same as that. You could do function, you could enter your own programming for all the functionality of the camera based on that. This is to factory reset, clear all the settings, copyright information, manual and software URL, certification logo and whatnot. Okay, so these are the function 1, function 2, function 3, clear our custom functions and clear customized settings. Add my menu tab. You could have your own menu tab, like customization of menu. Delete all menu tabs, delete all items, menu tab, display normal. So these were the display functions. Okay, now let's see the buttons all around the camera. Okay, so the camera, as you can see, this is the info shows you, let me actually exit out of this, press the menu. So no card, but this is the info, shows you everything that you need to know, white balance settings, focus settings, you know, what type of image quality, all the settings from the info button. This is your leveling. Leveling means, is the camera this way or this way? This is very important, because if you're taking a picture of like landscape, you want your camera to be leveled. Most cameras didn't have leveling meter. And also, is your camera tipping forward? Like let me show you from a different angle here. So you have two types of leveling. So one leveling is leveling this way and this way, which shows you what that is. The other leveling is this way and this way. So if you really want to level it like 100% horizontal with earth, with respect to sideways and this way, if you want X and Y to be completely parallel with earth, completely parallel, then you use that little leveling, as you can see, like that. Okay, so there went the thing, the auto power shut off, which I didn't want to enable. Okay, now as you can see, we have some different types of what do you call it, connections here. As you can see, different connections. Let's show you the connections. This is your remote plug. This is your mic and headset. This is your HDMI and USB. Let's look at each one. Okay, so we have standard 3.5 millimeter mic and headset ports. Standard, very good. Nothing like Apple Lightning cable. It's all standard. Then we have your remote here, and let's see. We have standard mini HDMI, and you have USB 3.0. I'm sorry, USB-C. This is not. This is USB-C. So it's pretty up to date unit. This is your image stabilizer on and off, and this is your focus control, which you want to be automatic or controlled manually. If you put it on focus, it's automatic. If you put it on manual, then you choose your own focusing. By the way, that's not focusing ring. This is a zoom ring. This is the focusing ring. So I switched the wrong one. Okay, let's see what else we have. So this is the playback button. This is the delete button to delete a picture or an image. And this is the information, display information. If you want information, what all different types of information, by pressing it. Depending on how many times you press it, you get different kinds of information that you need. And right here we have autofocus on off, and here are the settings. This is the most important, you know, most of you already know. This is fully automatic. This is, you know, program. This is let's see that one, shutter priority, and this one is aperture priority. See, as you move, it tells you what each one is. Like this one is aperture priority, this one is manual exposure, this one is bulb, which is B is like as long as you press the shutter is open. When you let go of it, it closes. And then you have programmable function buttons 1 and 2 and 3, and then you have movie recording, and then you have special scene recording, and you have scene intelligent auto or fully auto. Flexible priority exposure can be set automatically or manually. Program, you know, shutter speed and aperture set automatically. So these are all the things that will tell you what they are on the menu. Okay, this is your shutter picture button. This is your record button. If you press this, I'm sure it's going to tell you no cord in the camera. So let's put a cord. Why not put a cord? Okay. Okay, the cord goes at the bottom where the battery is. That's where the cord goes. Oh my god, does that take a micro SD card too? Or is that a SIM card? No, that's a SIM card. Okay, so let's put a card. Wait, here it says that is a micro SD. Let me put a micro SD. Crazy. 128 meg. No, it's not. It looks like a slot, but it's not. Okay, but it sure does look like a slot. See, I don't know why they have two memory card pictures here then, because I only see one slot here, but picture is for 2. Okay, all right, so that's that. Okay, so that's the video record. Currently the lens cover is on, so there's no video record, but let me remove the lens cover and see how it records. Okay, now the focus, I'm not too impressed. See how it loses the focus in and out? I'm not too impressed with the focusing. Okay, there you go. Now it's focusing good. So yeah, that's recording right now. Press it again to stop the record. And I'm sure that you could program it to record on and off from the screen as well. Let me see if record button works here. Oh no, it doesn't. So you have to press here. For record on off, you have no choice but to press that button. Okay. So yeah, and this is the lock. Obviously when you lock, this button will lock. Let's see what else does this button do. If we put it back in automatic, so these are different functionalities that you can do. Let me take a picture. You could do a touch up there right on the screen. Okay, so manual function, you could change the shutter speed and all that. So if you want to change the shutter speed, let me show you. 1 second. Let me go to manual. And in this manual function, you could change this button changes your f factor. See, this is the aperture size basically. Let me see if it goes to 22. What's the max? Yeah, it does go to 22. That's good. So you could get a lot of depth of field with 22 if you're shooting small items. And let's see, this one will control your shutter speed in manual. So yeah, that looks good. Looks good. And then you could lock this, so moving this will not do anything. All right, so this is like a general review and setup and all that, but I'm gonna do an in-depth video on it that shows you how to sync it to your smartphone and all the good stuff, because there's so much in this camera. Oh, by the way, when you could fold this way if you want to take your own picture, you know, like that, so you could see your own shots. Okay, let's turn it off, and there it is, sensor cleaning when it turns off. The feel and the look of this camera is much better than my 5D. It's a lot lighter weight than the 5D. My 5D Mark III, Mark II, all of them are so heavy. This is much lighter weight. So we'll see how the pictures will come out. Okay, all right, so thank you for watching. I'll be making more videos on this with different settings and reviews and all that good stuff. Thank you.